So, we've somewhat broken the goon rule on this, at least in my view, with the exception of me, of course. So anyway, we ordered. I got the Britney Spears, which was a chicken salad, lettuce, bacon, and tomato, um, and it was pretty damn good, I have to say. A bit pricey, but pretty good. I don't remember what everyone else got. You'd have to ask them. Discuss the various intricacies of ponadum, I hate that word. And I think there was a photograph taken by Holler, who I didn't see for the remainder of the day. I don't know if he'll post it or what's up with that. I believe that Headless wanted his face removed rather appropriately, now that I think about it. Headless Horse. Okay. Um, so anyway, after that, we headed up. In the process, we missed the remainder of the musicians panel and the Equestria online panel. Again, I don't give a shit about either of these. We get in time for the artist panel. Now, there were a number of artists and people selling various shit on the outside. I wasn't really buying things, so I didn't spend very much time there. And B, the layout was such that, when you're standing looking there, it was so packed, that little hallway, that, if there was a fire there, everyone in that building would have died. And, nothing of value would have been lost, but everyone would have died. And it made looking at stuff not really worth it. As I understand, a few of the more, uh, I hesitate to use the word notable artists in Ponedum were there. So I didn't really look too specifically at any of their stuff. But we did catch a portion of the artist panel, I think, well, at least me and Headless did. Um, it was interesting hearing them talk, but it was kind of annoying because we missed the opening of it. So, and they didn't really, they could have used some like visual aids to be like, hey, here's who this person is, or this person you may know from this popular picture online. I know that like, I think the Notorious Crooked Trees and Egophiliac were among them. But again, I'm not sure because I didn't know what they were talking about. A few of their stories were pretty interesting about how they got into, you know, being an artist in the first place. Someone was talking about how he had done a multi-year Doctor Who project that he always had trouble getting funding for and stuff like that. Um, Someone else had done like, I think she was talking about like fantasy graphic novels, like, that real fantastical stuff that you'll see, and that, doing pony stuff was such a change for her, but she really enjoyed it. And I'm not an artist by any means. I can't draw for shit. But one comment that struck out to me that I thought was interesting was that um, a lot of people who dirt go about it backwards. They find something really complex or interesting, and they figure out how to do that, but then they don't know how to draw a circle. And he said, if pony art teaches you anything, it's how to draw a circle. I don't know why, but I thought that was kind of clever. Um, we were I made the decision at this point to kind of just stand in the back because my legs really weren't tired. It was a somewhat nice view. The odor wasn't as bad. Actually, quick sidebar on the odor. It it was there. It did exist. It wasn't like as you kept going up, the air conditioning became less and less. You could feel it less and less anyway. Combine that with the extra thing of however the fuck many, at least I would say at least 500 people at any given time were in a fairly small area. That's going to kill it anyway. So yeah, that did exist. It wasn't overwhelming or anything, but I would be lying if there. And a few people in particular, I was like, I do not want to be next to, say, this gentleman because of his smell. So what the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, so the artist panel wrapped up, and I was standing in the back, sort of by decision, uh, right next to the lights, which is something I'll get to in a moment. Um, and people started filing in for the Fighting is Magic demonstration. And while this is going on, I think I was talking to Headless, um, and I think that just about various shit, not nothing important, but it started filing in and filing in and filing in. And before I know it, every single seat, or, yeah, I think that's literal. Every single seat was basically filled. So the standing in the back thing quickly changed from a decision that I had made to something that I had no say in whatsoever. Certainly a big change. And then, like, I was asking what the remainder of the like what the schedule was to be like, okay, is there ever gonna be a time when we can actually, um, you know, potentially get a seat? And here's and this is what was told to me as the what was the schedule. They had the Fighting is Magic panel. Everyone's going to be there for their. Then the episode. No one's going to fucking miss the episode. Then the voice over actress panel, which we're already. It was 2 o'clock when the Fighting is Magic thing started. We're already at 5 with that, and then the Daniel Ingram Skype. So I'm like, son of a bitch. So yeah, I was standing for quite a while. I spent a few years as a cashier, so I had to stand for extended periods of time anyway. That training certainly came in handy. So thank you, Wilson Farms. Um, anyway, the fighting is magic. I'm not like a big. I liked fighting games a lot when I was, I played video games a lot more when I was little. I still, keep up with them. I enjoy fighting games, but I'm not like an aficionado. For my money, the Fighting is Magic game is really well done and impressive. I mean, they're obviously not done yet. They haven't worked out all the kinks. Completely amateur. I could be completely wrong on this call by me. I think that Twilight is overpowered. That was the read on it because it seemed like she was beating the shit out of just about everybody. But one of the single most amazing moments I've ever seen was early on during the demonstration. They started by exploring a few of the characters, showing how the basic stuff worked to everybody, which was fine. But then they like, okay, let's try an actual match, and it was Twilight versus Applejack. And you'll have to forgive me. I have to go to pro wrestling logic to even understand what happened. For whatever reason, the crowd, the packed room decided that Twilight was the face. Twilight was the good guy. We're going to root for Twilight. And Applejack, even though, she had her supporters, was the one who we wanted to see defeated. She was the heel. So they proceed to have a pretty um, close match for a while. And I have never seen that many people get into potentially anything before. When Twilight eventually won, like the crowd was literally standing up screaming with pure adulation and joy at the events that have just transpired. It was like I bursted out laughing because how do you even explain that? I sincerely hope that there's a video of that somewhere because that was some of the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know, I don't mean that in a condescending way. It was like kind of weirdly awesome to see something like that happen. I'm a bit speechless about it, to be frank. But yeah, then they proceeded to explore the rest of the characters. I don't believe they have a workable Fluttershy or Dash yet. Twilight and Applejack seem the most complete, while Rarity and Pinkie, there's still some kinks to work out, but they're generally on target. But again, I really for a fan game that's just something that they're doing. I as a regular guy on this thing, I was thoroughly impressed. I think they're doing a hell of a job over there. So yeah, that took an hour. My feet were getting a bit tired at this point. Oh, the lights thing. So anyway, it dawned on me at one point when I was talking to Mr. Horse that we were standing at the time. Both of us were standing right by the lighting system. Like the switches that you hit to dim the lights or whatever. And like, huh. But I sort of made like an offhanded, lame joke about, well, better watch out. Or like, you could really fuck with people if you start just flipping them on and off. And, it wasn't a big thing. But then during the process of I believe it was at this time, of the Fighting is Magic demonstration, like the lights started flickering. At this point, I had sort of maneuvered over to, I actually had a fairly decent standing spot from the very back, which is where I spent, most of the convention anyway. But the lights kept going on, and Headless was still in the same spot. So every once in a while, like someone would look back at him, like, "What the fuck are you doing? Stop fucking with the lights!" And he had this look on his face, like, "No, it's not me," which was maybe that doesn't work as an anecdote, but it was pretty hilarious at the time. So, all right, I think that was everything important from the Fighting is Magic demonstration. People were rooting for Pinkie Pie pretty hard, but I'm pretty sure that she didn't win any of the matches that they demonstrated, which was kind of a shame. Poor Pinkie. So after that, they set up the episode viewing. It was around this point that they brought out the full body suit, or excuse me, full bodysuit Derpy Hooves. I just can't get on board. It was a well done costume. I'll give it credit where credit's due. I just can't get on board with that. And they had this very odd thing. So everyone had completely crowded in at this point. I think just about everyone was in there because, new episode. Um, so they did this weird thing where the MC said that the disc was personally delivered from the hub, which I suspect is true. And then they had Derpy as the mail mare with the with an envelope in her mouth, bring it up to him, and then he took it and the disc was inside. This was really weird, and I don't quite know what to make of it. But, that was a thing that happened. Quick sidebar. The guy that they had doing the emceeing, I have slightly mixed emotions on him, um, because he was doing a good perfunctory job. Like, he was. You could hear him. He could actually get the crowd to shut up when they needed to shut up, which with this crowd was frankly impressive. Um, but on the other hand, when he was doing like comedy bits in between, people going up, which either was a mixture of references that I'm pretty sure, I mean, the ones that I got, I was pretty sure went over other people's heads, and then there were a few that I believe went over my head, which would be consistent. And then, and I simultaneously criticize him for and give him credit for having a relevant pony quote for literally any situation that could theoretically potentially arise. I'm not kidding. It didn't matter what somebody in the audience said. It didn't matter what was going on. It didn't matter what he was introducing. He had a pony quote ready. And some of them were good timing. Some of them were kind of annoying. The whole thing was maybe a little on the corny side. But on the other hand, I guess he did an okay job. I might have had a bad taste in my mouth. I'd forgotten this. Earlier in the day, when I was waiting in line for the 2 hour waiting in line thing, they would occasionally send somebody down to like, you guys ready for BroNYCon? Yeah! And like in order to keep the crowd, what's the correct word here? Opiated while they, were waiting in this endless line. And I believe there's a law of diminishing returns in effect on that. Like the first time you do it, yeah. Like by the time the fourth person came around, I was like, yes, please let us in. Please just fucking let us in. But anyway, at one point when he was doing that and I was waiting in line, he was going around doing that, and he goes specifically to me and he's like, "Brohoof, pass it down," which I believe I cracked under pressure, and I'm sad to say at that moment I did. Um, so anyway, there's that guy. He might even have like a recognizable name or something, but if he did, it's escaping me at the moment. So what the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, the episode. So yeah, after that weird Derpy Hooves interlude, they then put the episode on. Um, okay, two thoughts on this. I suppose you could say I was worried that the crowd would be potentially annoying during the episode, and maybe there was one or two times, excuse me, when they started applauding a bit too loud, or getting excited about something really minor. I didn't hear anyone yelling anything at the screen. It was funny, of all the things, like this was the part that they probably took the most seriously, which I suppose there's a logic to that. But I have to say, watching it with a live crowd that's really fucking into it has a certain quality to it. It's the same thing like seeing a movie like The Room with people who actually are in the same mindset. There's a certain energy that develops. Maybe it's a nerd. It's definitely a nerdy energy, but it was good. I actually more enjoyed it.